going to get started. So you're all very welcome to the Trinity Business School this afternoon. Just to start off by saying a massive congratulations to all the new students. We're delighted to be here with you on the first steps of your student journey at Trinity. So we're here today for getting to know the disability supports at Trinity College Dublin. So just before I hand you over to our first speaker, I'm going to give you a bit of a run through of what to expect out of the afternoon. So we have our first address of welcome is from the Student Union President, Laura Beston. Then we'll hand over to the Director of the Disability Service, Declan Traynor. We'll take you through the staff of the Disability Service and introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about the different roles. We will then hand you over to our very experienced and capable student ambassadors who will give you a bit of information about their own stories and their own experiences of receiving supports in college. We'll tell you about how you can get started by applying for reasonable accommodations. We will give you a little bit of basic information to get you going on your student journey to general orientation information. We will break at 2 o'clock for tea and coffee. And we'll also, the parents will be staying here for a parents' information session, and the students are going to come away with some of the ambassadors for some student workshops. So we'll explain a little bit near the time what we mean by that and what to do. So to kick us off, I'm going to introduce you to Student Union President Laura Beston.
Hi there, first of all, welcome. My name is Laura Beston. I'm from Claremorris in County Mayo. I'm 23 years old and I'm a student here. So 5 long years ago, I decided that I wanted to study English and Film at Trinity College Dublin. I wasn't able to make it up to the open day, so I came up one day in November and I was showed around the campus by a friend that was in the year above me, and it would be that day that helped me stay strong all year and work as hard as I possibly could to get here. So as much as I studied, my disability would always get in the way. I have depression and clinical anxiety, so as you can imagine, exam nerves were a bit of an issue. One of my strongest memories of my junior cert is actually throwing up before my Irish exam, so it was a sign of things to come, I guess. The leaving cert was long and grueling, but the psychiatrist and psychologist I was seeing made sure my DARE application reflected all the struggles I was facing and the lack of support I had in school. I worked so hard, but sometimes even our best efforts fall short. I was handed my exam results mid-August by my principal, who said, "I hope you're happy." And I can assure you, once I opened that envelope, I was far from happy. I mean, aside from miscalculating my points by only counting 5 subjects at first, I knew I hadn't received enough points for my dream course, let alone any course I'd put down in Trinity, and my dream just evaporated before my very eyes. My mom let me have some time to myself, and I spent around 3 hours of just like crying by myself on my bed, frustrated that everything I had been given to this wasn't enough. My mother was the person who picked me up in that time and got me through the offers. She was the person that reminded me that 465 points was very good, and that even if it wasn't what I needed, I should still be proud. Always the informed parent, she knew how DARE was assigned, and she knew there was a chance I could get a place, something I had no clue about. So over the next few days, we attempted to encourage any form of divine intervention that we could. As the results came out during the novena in Knock, and I living in Claremorris, my mother and I walked all the way to Knock and back, a 20-kilometre journey, to pray that I would get my course. And we drove the hour and 15-minute journey from Claremorris out to Crowpatrick, affectionately known as the Reek. And for the first time in my 19 years of climbing, the entire journey was a pilgrimage. We prayed constantly. Every bit of pain on that journey was in the name of getting my course. And I was an emotional wreck. I'd smile and say, well, yeah, it's not what I was hoping for, but it's better than I expected. A line that my mom taught me, so I'd have something to say to the prying locals who were looking for a little bit of gossip. But the day came, and I stayed up all night. I accidentally fell asleep at 5. Our offers came out at 6 a.m, unlike yours. And so I woke up at 6:30 or 8, I can't really remember. And I let out the biggest scream I think our house has ever heard. And my mom comes rushing into my bedroom. She's like, "What's going on?" And it's just me in floods of tears, having been offered my first choice, English Literature and Film Studies. And to this day it seems like it was fate, like it was a miracle that could have very easily not happened. But I made it here, and I sat where you sat 4 years ago, and I had my ups and downs, and I leaned on the supports the Disability Service had to offer, and the other services that are available in college. and I'm coming back next year to do a medical repeat of my final year. So some of you may come through in 4 years, and some of you might take a little bit longer. Right now, I am taking a sabbatical as the president of the Trinity College Dublin Students' Union. I am in the highest position of student leadership in the college, and I got far less than the points I needed, and I was a DARE student. And every person who voted for me recognised that my value and what I have to give, and every person you encounter should recognise your value and your ability while you are here. I'll hand you back over to the Disability Service, and I'll be back up here in a little while to tell you about what the Students' Union does. So well done.
Okay, how do you follow that? My name is Declan Traynor. I'm the Director of the Trinity Disability Service, and welcome and congratulations. It's great that you're here, and like Laura, you can do many things, and there's no limitations. Trinity is a great place to come to, and we try to do our best to support students. Laura forgot to mention that there's a campaign that you just have to ask and you might get help, or you should get help. So that is really key. You're going to hear that now, and I'm going to be talking to the parents. One of the key things is that students do need to ask, because we don't know. There's 1,700 students with disabilities in Trinity. That's 10% of the undergraduate student population. So you do need to tell us. So I'm just going to do a sort of a whistle stop of the overview, or maybe the boring stuff about the service. So we help students through the journey. We meet some of you before you come in. We encourage people to come here and get a sense of the place, and most of the stuff is around whilst you're here. First year is the year we try to do the most in relation to supporting students, because that's the one where most students are going to have some struggle. Every student has a struggle in first year. They find it very hard to settle in, or they might just find it sort of more difficult because they're transitioning into a new space and so on. So you're not alone. Everybody's going through the same thing. So a lot of the things you will face are no different to anybody else. And then as you're leaving, we look at employment, and we've run a number of projects over the last number of years of trying to look at particular groups that will have difficulties into employment, particularly mental health and autism. So we have some projects that are very relevant there. So there's many services, Laura alluded to it as well. There's lots of support in Trinity. We're just a part of a bigger equation. There's lots of supports that are available to all of you to avail of. There's health centres, counselling and so on. You have a tutor, the Student Union are a big support system. So there's lots of different things for you to be able to connect to. Our job is really to try and get you, you've come through education. The experience is going to be very different here. Some students arrive here thinking they're going to have special needs assistants and things walking behind them and all of that type of thing. That sort of thing doesn't really fit into a university environment. A lot of the time we call it you've been transacted upon. People are telling you what to do all the time and so on, your teachers and so on. That isn't going to happen here. None of the lecturers are going to be telling you what to do. You don't even have to go to lectures. It's up to you to do all of that sort of thing. So you're going to change as you'll find your own independence in a place like that. And typically a student with a disability as well is also going to be changing some of the ways that they would have been supported. So we try to think of what we help you with is to transform you into somebody who can ask for help when you need it, manage your own supports, and be able to ask for things that you think will maybe assist you. And we usually will have some answer in that regard. If we can't, we'll find somebody who can help. At the moment, we're in the Arts Building. That's a picture of the door, just there. It's room 2054. It's the Arts Building was the centre of gravity probably up until now. This business school is probably going to be one of the main hubs. The energy's moving down this way. Typically, it used to be up the front, but we're in the Arts Building at the moment. But we're moving to a brand new build called Printing House Square in next year sometime. So it won't affect you this year, but next year you will be meeting us over there. It was set up in 2000, the service. As I said, there's over 1,600, probably 1,700 students at the moment who get some type of support from us. And we have 8 staff who work in that area, and they'll all introduce themselves later. So typically the supports work in a very all, some, few type approach. Like most students will typically get some types of accommodation, such as exam supports. Some students will need some additional supports, and very few will need very complex type supports that are put in based on their needs. So that's typically how any support system will work, but it's really up to you to say what you think you may need. And once you're met by one of our staff, you can have that conversation with them. We're going to be explaining how that works, the needs assessment and reasonable accommodation process later. The numbers have just kept going up, as you'd expect. Students are more open about having a disability. They've no issue about disclosing it. They can expect to be supported. The vast majority of students have invisible disabilities, so nobody knows anything unless you're saying what it is to the people who need to know. So it's typically 80+% of any of the students would be deemed to be invisible. The types of students that we deal with are all types of students. The biggest group over the last 2 years that have registered with the service are people with mental health difficulties, dyslexia, SLDs, and they used to be the one that were the dominant group, but mental health has been the one that has taken over in the last 2 years, and that's the same for this year as well. So we have all types of students. I say there's no issue with anybody. Everybody can get some type of support. And then the courses, students are going into the same courses as every other student. So there's no difference. You're in the same groups. You're going to meet people here today or in your courses. You're all going to the same places as everywhere else. We made 311 DARE offers this year. We make the most DARE offers in the country. And the number of accepted places so far, as I say, typically follow the typical students. The arts being the biggest group because there's the biggest number of places. Science, engineering best, nursing, medicine, and the therapy. So they're in the same courses. You're doing the same thing as everybody else. Nobody's doing anything different to anybody else. So one of the things about breaking off into the workshops this afternoon, you will meet people on your course, and hopefully they'll act as a support to you, because you'll meet people here today, and it'll help you next week when you go into Freshers Week that you'll have met somebody today that you'll recognise next week. So the academic year has changed. We're into a new system. We're going to be explaining that to you in the workshops and telling the parents all the deadlines. There's 12 weeks of term. We call them semester 1 and semester 2. Now we're only getting used to the lingo. And there's exams at Christmas. Last year was the first time they did those. And there's summer exams. Everything goes very quickly. You won't believe it. In April, the year is over. So it sort of happens very, very quickly. So there is deadlines and critical things that you need to be cognizant of to make sure that you don't miss certain things as part of your journey through here. But you'll be hearing that repeatedly from us and from Freshers Week next week as well. So deadlines are everywhere. Emails is the formal official channel in which everybody communicates to you. Students complain about that. They get so many emails, and I don't blame them. I've been with students many times looking into their inboxes, and there's hundreds of emails coming in from everybody and anybody, and it's critical that you connect with your email system. You're getting messages. You'll also get them through Blackboard. You'll get them through your TCD portal as well. So there's 3 channels, but emails will always be the one that the college recognises as the official channel. And when you say you didn't read that email, they'll just say we sent you an email about something, and you'll eventually find the email. But it is one you just need to find a way of managing it, and set up folders and things. I'd recommend that as a way of trying to keep an eye on it. We run a drop-in every day. It's called the DS Solution drop-in because we believe there's a solution to every problem, and there's no problem that doesn't have a solution. So the idea is that if you have anything, you can call into the main office. There's always somebody there from 11 to 3 during term, but in September we're open from 10 to 4 because there's a deadline at the end of September we have to meet for exams. So we want to get as many people into the system before that date. We'll be talking about that later as well. So typically people just call in there. Some people just come in to sit down to get away from the noise or whatever. It's a place you can go. There'll always be somebody there to talk to. So do avail of that. That sign is up on the door outside it, and it is always open. There's always somebody there. So just remember, if you're in any difficulty, just go there if you think you don't know how to solve something. We have an assistive technology rooms in the library. That'll be explained to you as well. Andrew will talk to you in a minute. We have 2 spaces dedicated to students. We've just done up one of them, made some nice sensory pods and things in there so people can go. Really quiet place to do your study in. It's really good if people use those. So they'll be explained to you. There's 2 of them. Well, there's actually 3, but 2 on campus and 1 out in James's as well. So who makes the disability service run smoothly? Let's introduce people. Declan Riley, do you want to come up? So Dr. Declan Riley is the longest serving disability officer.
After you.
After me?
Yeah. Hi, Declan Riley is my name, and I've been working in the service since 2005, and I have a particular responsibility for students with physical and sensory disabilities, and also students with neurological disabilities. I oversee the needs assessment process. I communicate with the exams office, and I also communicate with the accommodations office around accommodation queries and supporting students with their applications for accommodation, and also a few things like Erasmus and other issues as well. Some of you I've already been in contact with, and I've met some of you already, and after today, if you apply, I'll be on to you straight away to set up appointments as soon as possible. So I'd encourage you to apply, and I'll be in touch with you in the next week or so to try and arrange appointments in September.
Great. Okay. And Andrew Costello is an assistive technology officer and a disability officer for students with dyslexia.
I am. Hi guys. So I pretty much deal with students around technology. I use apps, anything that's computer related. I help them out with software, then I help them. For example, my voice recognition software, screen reading software, etc. All the type of things. I help students both individually and in group sessions throughout the year, which is off our main disability service calendar, the whole group of events there. I run through semester 1 and semester 2, so I'm sure I'll come in contact with most of us throughout the year, and again, questions you can email me.
Claire Malone is an occupational therapist and also a disability officer.
So yeah, as Declan said, my name is Claire. I'm one of the OTs, but I'm also a disability officer. So for some of you, I might meet you as your disability officer, as your initial assigned contact. And for some of you, you might be referred to an OT through one of the other disability officers, and then I'll meet you then. And for some of you, I might play both roles. But OT is an additional support for students who might need some extra ongoing support. So we would manage some practical things around managing your student role, and helping you to set goals around maybe that's transitioning into college, and managing your coursework, managing your timetable and your routine, fitting in societies as well as your classes. So another part of my role is I also work with our student ambassadors. So the ambassadors are our disability role models, and they help us out with communicating about the service and raising awareness about the supports that are out there. So if some of you are interested in becoming ambassadors yourselves, you will get an email at some point towards the end of September, so we would love to have you on board.
Great. Kieran Lewis. Kieran Lewis, not working. Yeah, whichever. Got options. Kieran Lewis is an occupational therapist and a disability officer.
Hi everyone. I'm an occupational therapist as well. I won't describe it because Claire's done beautifully for us there. I suppose the only thing to add to that, I've been here about 16 or 17 years doing this job, occupational therapist for most of it, now disability officer, and I suppose the way we work it is the disability officer role is a lot about reasonable accommodation. and then the occupational therapy being the practical support to back that up. So I'd really advise you to look into it. If it's something that you feel will be helpful, then it absolutely is there for you. As Declan spoke about earlier, we focus a lot on employment, and we do that right the way through college. And I'm the lead on that within our service. So if you're looking for summer jobs, if you're looking how to balance part-time work with college, if you're looking on the actual transition from college to employment, everything around that, the job search, connecting with careers around that, doing CVs, how to prepare for interviews, all of that. And we do a really good boot camp right down to college that's available to all students, and it's a great event every year. So welcome everyone.
Cecily Roach is also an occupational therapist and a disability officer.
Hi, yeah, I'm Cecily. So I'm a disability officer, so I'll be meeting the students who are coming in with a significant ongoing illness for your needs assessment. So I'd like to meet you as soon as possible to get that completed. And then I'm also an occupational therapist, so as the other two said, that's an additional support should you need it through your studies. I'm particularly focused on looking at the sensory environment and how we can improve some of the environments in Trinity. So if there are areas you're struggling to access, we can look at that, and I'll be speaking to some of the science students about that later when we break up.
Right. James Brady is our case coordinator.
Hi everyone, my name is James Brady. I'm the case coordinator with Student Services. I work across disability, the counselling service and the health service as well. And my background is as a community mental health nurse. And I meet students primarily with mental health difficulties. I discuss the supports that the college has here, and then sometimes I discuss with student supports that are available in the community as well. So look forward to meeting some of you. I think you would have already got emails from me.
And I forgot to say that Kieran is nearly a doctor. And we have another doctor here, Dr. Kevin O'Rourke, who's our administrator.
I'm Kevin. I'm the Disability Service Administrator. I'm the person that is always in the Disability Service office. I manage that office, and I would be involved in recruiting and managing educational support workers.
And last but not least, Dr. Alison Doyle. She is an educational psychologist and provides specialist support.
My name is Alison, and I have been associated with the Disability Service since 2007. I will be in Trinity every Wednesday and Thursday from 9 till 5, and I provide academic support to mostly neurodiverse students, ADHD, autism, dyslexia, dyspraxia. If you go to the Disability Service website and click on the Contacts tab, and you scroll down the page and you click on My Profile, there is a link there where you can book yourself in to see me using an online calendar.
Yeah, we've introduced an online booking system through our contact pages for everybody. All our staff now have their calendars there, so you can freely go in and book times to meet any of the staff that have been mentioned there. So that's that's just a very rough overview. We do support students all through the different stages. We all have different specialisms, and we all are very keen to hear from you. We're very active with the Student Union around trying to make sure we listen to what you're saying about things that we need to do better, or things that need to do differently, or so on. So we have a very strong relationship. I think they're up next. Is it the Student Union next? It's the video. Oh. So just press the video. Okay, so the key thing that you need to do is you have to apply for reasonable accommodation. So you probably have already, most of you will have gone into the mytcd.ie portal, which is where you have to register for your course. You also have to upload your information in relation to your disability into that system. We don't have that information. You have it, and you have to give it to us to be able to allow us to support you. So this video is just going to explain that to you in a very easy, it's a 12-step process.
Welcome to the tutorial for applying for reasonable accommodations with the Trinity College Dublin Disability Service. The application process can be broken down into 11 easy steps, which take place on the MyTCD student portal. MyTCD is where you will also register for your chosen course and can view your student timetable. Your application for reasonable accommodations, once complete, is valid for the duration of your studies, so you won't need to reapply in the next academic year. Reasonable accommodations, also known as supports, can take many different forms, such as access to assistive technology, exam accommodations, and additional library privileges. Step 1. Log on to my.tcd.ie using your Trinity username and password. Step 2. Click on the My Disability Service tab, located on the top navigation bar, and select Reasonable Accommodation Application. Step 3. You will be presented with a welcome page explaining the Disability Service privacy policy, the requirements for evidence of disability, and a note on GDPR. Read this information and click Proceed to continue with your application. Step 4. You will now be asked to indicate your primary disability, which relates to your application for reasonable accommodations. Select your primary and, if applicable, secondary disability from the drop-down menu. You will also be asked to enter a brief note describing your disability support requirements. Step 5. Read and agree to the Trinity Reasonable Accommodation Policy. The policy is an important document which you should take the time to read in full. The policy serves 3 functions. Firstly, to define the types of reasonable accommodations students can avail of. Accommodations can be standard and non-standard. Secondly, the policy explains how reasonable accommodations are provided and communicated. Thirdly, the policy demonstrates Trinity's compliance with national legislation and policies. Step 6. You will be asked to read and agree to the Trinity Consent to Disclose Disability Information Form. Read this document carefully, as it explains how the Disability Service manages personal information to ensure compliance with GDPR. Data protection law requires the Disability Service to obtain consent before receiving your personal data. Consent must be informed and for a specific purpose. By giving consent, Trinity can ensure that any reasonable accommodations required are identified and provided. If medical evidence regarding a disability is provided to the Disability Service, this information will not be disclosed to any third party, except where necessary to provide the reasonable accommodations identified as part of the needs assessment process. Examples of whom it may be necessary to disclose to includes lecturers and academic staff, residential accommodation services, and health services. If a student is granted exam accommodations, such as additional time, the college will, in consultation with the student, disclose relevant information to the examinations office so that the appropriate arrangements can be made. Should a lecturer or tutor contact the Disability Service regarding a student, they will be made aware that the student's consent is required before any personal information can be provided. It should be noted that it is a student's right to decline to provide consent for the Disability Service to process personal data. However, in this scenario, Trinity will be unable to arrange any reasonable accommodations that require disclosure of disability. Step 7. Read the information about the available support routes and click Next. Step 8. Choose Yes or No to indicate whether you will require exam accommodations. When completing this step, please note the information regarding exam accommodations deadlines. Step 9. Select your evidence of disability to upload. Read the information about evidence of disability and select the type of evidence of disability to be uploaded from the drop-down menu. Step 10. Upload evidence of disability by clicking on the Browse button and selecting the relevant file from your computer. You may upload more than one file by selecting Upload another document and repeating this process. Step 11. Finish your application for reasonable accommodations by clicking Submit Application. You will receive an in-train message confirming that you have completed all of the required steps. A member of the Disability Service will then be in contact with you to finalise your application and to discuss reasonable accommodations.
So that's really critical that you try and get that done as soon as possible. There's a deadline for exams at the end of September, the last Friday of September. You have to have all your modules chosen, and that's the last date we can set up any accommodations for students for their examinations for that sitting. Anybody after that deadline will be supported in the following exam sitting. So it's just important at this point. There's roughly, I think, about 100 people applied so far. So there's 300 out there that need to get on with it. So that hopefully will help you just sort of understand. Just go in and do that, and somebody will contact you as soon as possible. I'll hand you over to Claire.
So now you've heard a little bit about the Disability Service itself, the staff who work there. We'd like to hand you over to our experienced student ambassadors who are going to give you a little bit more of a personal idea about their own experience in college, how they found accessing supports, and just some general advice that they have for you as new students starting out. So if you'd like to join us up here, ambassadors.
Hi, my name is Daniel. I've just completed my bachelor's degree in computer engineering and will now be doing a master's at UCL in cybersecurity. The reasonable accommodations I found useful or in supports are my tutor and the attic space in the locker. So tutor is very important, especially having a very good relationship, because my tutor solved at least 100 problems relating to me from all sorts. For example, I had to take a year out from simple stuff relating to exams. The attic space, as mentioned earlier, is a special place in the library for disability students. I recommend you using this a lot because it's fairly quiet and compared to other places in the library. In regard to lockers, you should definitely apply for one because sometimes students can forget about them during fresh week, but they're very valuable.
Hi everyone, my name is Priva and I'm going to talk about the extra time that is given. I get like 10 minutes of extra time every exam, and I also have smaller venues which helps me in not get overwhelmed, and the extra time actually has helped me so much in outlining my exam, and that has like reduced my stress because exam time is usually a very stressful time, and these accommodations have really helped me out. So if you need them, get them.
Hello, I'm Kumar Joe. I just finished IELTS exam in May. Ever since I came in to Trinity 4 years ago, my experience with the Disability Service has been very good. I was given the exam accommodation and extra time of 15 minutes every 1 hour, or something like that. And I was given a note taker, and I also had permission to record lectures, provided with the permission of the lecturer. But my overall experience has been very good. I became a disability ambassador in 2016, and I participated in a few open days and boot camps for prospective students of Trinity, which I enjoyed. And yes, it's been a very good experience.
My name is Rory. I've just finished my degree. I haven't actually graduated yet. That won't take place until October. I was on the autistic spectrum, and I was offered many of the supports Cormac was offered, and mainly my speech was about advising you to be prepared. They will support you, and it's towards growing independence, but a lot of it is self-guided on your part. In college, you are taught in college, you learn to think, I'd say. That's how I describe it. You basically they're helping you to learn for yourself. That's the most important thing they can do, aside from helping you teach the answers, help you to learn for yourself so you can be more independent in the long run. And it especially helps since college is even more flexible in every way. You don't have to attend lectures, but the lectures take place at very odd times. And if you compare your schedules, you'll have like 1 hour a day or 4 to 5 hours a day of lectures and seminars, which can be insane. There's sometimes it comes straight after each other. Am I frightening people? I'm actually getting the impression of frightening people. Your laughter doesn't help. Just be prepared for it. You sometimes gloss over some of the good things that you forget to overcome the difficulties some people in college I figure. And just remember to ask for help, and it's fine to be overwhelmed. Disability service, the student counseling service, and everyone in between is there to help and listen to you. Just send it back.
Yeah, I'm Jamie, and I was going to say something else there, but I came in as a mature student, and before I came to college, I'm going to stand out here to feel more comfortable. Before I came to college, I didn't know I was dyslexic, and I went through the school system, and I fell out of the school system, and then I went on, and I got back into education, and then before I came to Trinity, I tried so hard to get into Trinity, and I was hitting those walls. I couldn't get into Trinity, and then I started to just into linking with the Just Ask. I started to ask for help outside before I even came into Trinity, and I was asking people for help. And then I got on this path and I came into Trinity. And I found out I was dyslexic. And then when I came in here, I was still very anxious about it. And I was like, I can't do this, I can't do this. In my head, not going around this college like mad. Although I am mad. But yeah, and then I just kind of, I let myself relax into college life. And I let myself be able to go up to the disability service and say, I'm Jamie and I have a dyslexic mind. That's what I say now. I don't say I'm dyslexic because it bogged me down. And I started to learn, like what Rory was saying. Yeah, Rory said, you learn how to learn. You're not coming in here to be a student as such, like what they want you to be, or what kind of a student society wants you to be, or how the system is actually set up. But for a dyslexic mind, you learn how to learn, and you go up and you meet. And I was with Andrew, I think he probably remembers. That's when I was like a madman. I was like, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do that. And probably cursed. He said something stupid. I don't know what I done. But like I'm going into fourth year, I'm a social work student, and I'm going into fourth year in September. And I was just sitting there reflecting. I'm a lot more relaxed now because I was able to ask for help, because I was able to take on the way I was meant to do things, or I was able to get assistive technology. Some of it I don't even use now. Sorry. I use the laptop for Googling things. Some of it I don't even use now, and I'm comfortable enough to be able to know away there. I'm going into placement, and I'm alright not having to have someone come out and help me set up things, because I don't need that now. And I'm also here to say that I'm a 1916 Leaders and Learners recipient. So I won a scholarship. I think I meant to say why I won it, but I don't really know. I was just honest, and I just wrote down my story, and I said, this is what this is how I tried to get on in life. This is what the potholes that I had. This is the walls I ran into. This is what I wanted to do, and I got it. I got a lot of money from it. And I get to say I have a scholarship, and people are like, wow, you have a scholarship, but it's only one, which isn't bad. But what I do with that then is, so what I've learned has been someone that's dyslexic, someone that dropped out of school, someone that came back to college, someone who's turned 30 and is still going to college, and mixed with people that are a lot younger. I think I heard gasps over there. Someone probably, oh, he's only 30. Yeah, I'm 30. So I learned all that, and I took that on, and I tried to take what I learned back to my community. And I come from a very disadvantaged area, so what I learned, I'm going to bring it back, and I'm going to try and create like a project, a healing project for the area, with other people that are like-minded in my area. So you don't have to, for me it's not about what am I going to work at, how much am I going to earn, you know. For me it's about what am I going to do in my life, what am I going to be happy with, what am I going to be comfortable with, you know. What am I going to come in here and sit here and learn everything there, but how am I going to use it in my own life and give back to other people? Because I've got a lot of help, and with scholarships I've had people help me, like the disability service, so I feel like I have to give back. And that's one of the reasons why I'm here today. So, thank you. So I'm still on the mic. So the next slide is all about what happens after I apply for reasonable accommodation. So once you apply for the application is complete, you'll be assigned a disability officer. So all the people that came up earlier on and talked, you might get one of them. And then your needs assessment can happen in 3 different ways. You may have to do a one-to-one meeting with your disability officer, be invited to attend a group for reasonable accommodation session, or visit to drop in and speak with a disability officer. If you are a DARE student, you are required to do at least one of the 3 assessment methods as part of your course registration. So just be mindful of that when you're starting your first week, that you'll have to do and things like that. The needs assessment of the site supports are needed, and after this a lens report will be drafted confirming the reasonable accommodation. So your lens is very important. And for me, when I was doing my lens, I was constantly, they probably won't want me to say this, but sometimes your lecturers and all will forget about you. So it's up to you. So everything in college is up to you. It all goes back on you. So just try and be on the ball. If you think that you want to tell every time you do an essay or something like that, if you want to tell your lecturer, whoever's going to be correcting it, that you have to remind them of your lens report, because that's what I've done. So do that if you want. And as soon as they hear the word lens, they kind of wake up a little bit. They hone in, and I don't know why that is. Somebody illegal. Yeah. So play that card. With your consent, then your lens report will be shared with the course. Like what I was saying, just if you feel like you want to remind them all the time, do that, because we are people and we forget, and so are all the lecturers and professors. Exam accommodation is, if you're going to, whatever you do during your first month, because you'll be doing a lot of partying, you'll be doing a lot of everything that you shouldn't be doing. That's college, enjoy it. I didn't before I came to college, but that's a story for a different day. I probably wouldn't have got in. So your application, so make sure you apply for your exam accommodation. So before, the deadline for this semester is the 22nd of September, and the deadline for next semester is the 24th of January. And then reassessments are the 29th of May. So, but like what I said, if you don't do anything, actually just relax in your first week, in your first few weeks, relax and go, open your ears, sit in the chairs, but then make sure you do this bit. Make sure you go on and you register for your exams and sessions. Thanks.
Hello again. So all students who apply for reasonable accommodations and have completed a needs assessment will receive a lens report listing all the supports that you will avail of. As was said, it's extremely important that you approve of it, because without it, the disability service can't start any accommodations for you. So you will receive it on mytcd.ie, just like this. So when you click on it, you'll see the press action. And from here, you can now see a copy of your lens. You just read through it to see everything's okay, and then at the end you press continue if everything is fine with you, and then you just press confirm if you're happy with it. If you have any sort of queries, you can either send a query through mytcd.ie or just pop into the disability service during one of their drop-ins. And now I'll invite over Nitin, who will talk about your student journey.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nitin, and as part of the student journey, I would like to highlight that disability services hold a couple of sessions and events which are really very important, and you should keep an eye for those. For example, in the beginning of the semester, the DS will be hosting orientation events, and the details for them can be found out on the website. You will find the calendar at the bottom of the homepage of the disability services. And in terms of the support sessions they offer, there are 3 types of groups will be held in semester 1. They will be on Wednesday and Friday afternoons at lunchtime. Similarly, standard disability supports introduction sessions provide an outline of the different reasonable accommodations available. This is one of the types of needs assessments you can attend. Assistive technology sessions provides advice on the different tools available to help students with reading, proofing, and note-taking. And then the Getting Help to Succeed in College group is available to students who may need additional support with transitioning to college. So these are the sessions which you can attend and benefit from. Daniel, now gonna talk about the Trinity in 12 weeks.
Hi guys, my name's Niall. I'm a 3rd year law student and also a very proud Dare student here in Trinity. Trinity in 12 weeks is essentially an orientation resource pack for new students. Each week has a different theme, as you can see up there, and it'll give you advice and information on how to get used to college life. I'd really recommend actually using it, because when I first came into 1st year I was kind of too scared to go to any orientation / overconfident that I'd work everything out by myself. Everything up there looks pretty simple, but turns out it's pretty difficult to work everything out by yourself. So I definitely advise looking at it, especially the basic stuff. It gives you information, just work out how to use the library and printers and money and relationships and stuff. It sounds basic, but it's actually really useful, so definitely give it a look.
Hi everyone, my name is Desiree. I'm a 3rd year PhD student studying developmental psychology, and I'm just going to talk you through some of the more general orientation information. So every student will be given a personalised orientation timetable, which you can find on the MyTCD portal, and this will give you details of events and activities that you will need to attend for your course, as well as information about events and records that might interest you. Most students attend lunchtime talks or campus tours with the student mentor team.
So thank you, ambassadors, for sharing that. Really helpful. We're just going to hand you back to Laura and the Student Union team, who are just going to tell you a little bit about the Student Union and the various roles within the union team.
I don't know if we're going to stand in order, but we're all just going to come out here so you can see who we are. This is all the sabbatical officers and our disability officer as well. So we represent all 18,000 students at the college,
And unlike other societies or clubs like that, you're automatically signed up to the Students' Union. So what we try and do is that we try and represent you guys. I actually realised that we have a few slides, so I'm going to have to flip through them. But basically, yeah, so the Students' Union just tries to represent all the students that are here in Trinity College, so that includes every type of student. That's obviously students with disabilities as well. So we're here to represent your views, to serve your interests, to foster community, and to provide services. We also kind of act like a signposting service for all the different services that exist in college. And just to reiterate what we said before, you guys should, if you need something, just ask for it. Like, I know for myself, I would have had to ask for help with the doctors. I wasn't on medication when I came here, but now I do need to be on medication, so I had to ask the doctors. I went to counselling immediately when I started college because I was transferred over from my services at home, but I actually didn't like the counsellor that I was paired with because I didn't feel like it was a right fit for me. So I was like, can I have a different counsellor, please? And I want to be seen more regularly. And that happened. I used the Unilink, the occupational therapist service as well, and I had to ask for that as well. And students' unions, so sometimes it can be a little bit daunting to ask for help. So we're kind of here to hold your hand when you're asking for help as well, and we can tell you where to go. So just kind of students' union, if you're wondering like how does it really exactly relate to a student with a disability, that's kind of essentially a lot of what we try to do. So the gang of us, the 5 of us here, we actually made history this year. So in the first time in 52 years, we're the first ever all-female sabbatical team. So if you want to do something or you want to see something change, make it happen. We are full-time, we work full-time, so a lot of other people who are involved in the union are elected and they give up their free time, but we have office hours every week, and we try to change location over campus. So I know some of you might be down in the Hamilton because you study science, so we might try and go out and reach you guys there. Or maybe if you're doing a health science subject, you might be off campus, so we try to reach out to you guys as well there. I'm your president, so I kind of see myself as having 2 little streams that I work in. So I work in college and I try and make sure that people in college are listening to what you guys need and what students care about most. And I also kind of look outside of college, so we work with external organisations, so we might tell the government there mightn't be enough money for a project that we need to run for our students with disabilities, so I'll tell them to do that. I oversee all union activities, so I'm kind of just like the manager, just making sure that everything's running okay. And I organise any, any campaigns that are run on campus. So it could be, say there's issues with the lifts, with the DART at the moment. We might be running a campaign on that, and I would be the person who would oversee all of that. And there might be a campaign that's happening that you think should happen. So the SU works for you. That is our logo, and that's our motto. So if there's something that you want to see done and that isn't being done, just come to us. You can email me, you can shoot me a message, you can pop into our offices. That's what we're here for. We basically just listen to your opinions and make sure that the college listens to you as well. So I'm just going to hand you over to our education officer, Niamh McKay.
Hey guys, I'm Niamh, and I'm your education officer. So congrats on getting here, but as Laura mentioned at the beginning, some of you might sail cleanly through and some mightn't. So I'm here to help you with any academic issues that arise. I sit on a lot of committees. I sit on some of the highest, as do all of us, sit on some of the highest functioning committees in college that make the decisions that directly affect you as a student. So please do bring your problems to us. I also run our class representative system, which is where we have at least 1 class rep for every course in the college, and I urge you all to run. If you're interested in running, you can contact Courtney or Laura and we will get you signed up nice and easy. The nominations don't close until Friday the 13th. So please do consider running and being a voice for your class and, of course, for students with disabilities on the Student Union. I was a rep myself in first year, a lot of us were, and now we're here as sabbatical officers making tangible change. So it's really something fantastic to get involved in. Just as well from your own academic experience, it's important that you do apply for reasonable accommodation around exam time, and if you don't, or if you find that your accommodations change, you can come to me or our disability service and we'll try to make sure that things are straightened out for you. And if you have ever an issue with your tutor or any lecturers or anything like that, we're also the avenue through which you can appeal that. But do use us to support you. Like Laura said, we work full time. We've been working all summer preparing for the year ahead. We've got a lot of training under our belt and we're really excited to get you all involved. So enjoy yourselves, but use your Student Union. It's what we're here for. We can't wait to see more of you. Thanks, guys.
Hi everyone, I'm Aisling. I'm the Welfare and Equality Officer.
So my job is to look after all of your well-being. So you can come to me for a chat about personal difficulties, financial troubles, absolutely anything. Over the year, I'll be running campaign weeks such as Mental Health Week and Disability Week, which Courtney might mention. And if you're interested in that sort of thing, you can be involved. We have a space for your first year on my welfare committee. So best of luck with the year, and never hesitate to come to me for a chat.
Hi everyone, my name is Maureen and I'm the Communications Officer this year. So my job is basically, the weekly email is a big part, so I'm guilty of being one of those people who sends you lots of emails. But mine is a relatively fun one, and sometimes there are free things in it, so if you read mine before you read everybody else's. As well as that, it's my job to look after branding, publications, campaigns. But aside from all that, I'm there as well. If you ever want to have a little chat, I do have the nicest treats in my office, so just pop in whenever you feel like you need to. Thanks very much.
Hi guys, my name is Judith and I'm the Entertainment Officer for the Union. So basically my job is I organise all the big student events, so things like Freshers Week, which is kicking off next week, and big events such as Trinity Ball. I am going to make a big effort this year to make sure that I have a wide range of events, so not just nights out, but that there will be something for everyone. And I'm also want to make sure that we make an effort to have events much more accessible than they have been before, and making students aware if an event is accessible or not. So with that being said, if any of you have a question about whether an event is accessible for you, or if you want me to change anything or implement anything, bring anything in for the events, just drop me an email at ens@tcdu.org and or you can drop into my office in House 6. And oh yeah, also we have an event tonight in Doyle's. If you all want to pop along, it's upstairs. Also we will have an area downstairs for anyone who is in a wheelchair. And yeah, thank you.
Hi, I'm Courtney, I'm the Disability Officer. So I'm a third year BEST student, and so if you have any questions about BEST, I know it's a daunting course, very big, so I'll be here to answer questions about that. But basically you can come to me about any issues and direct you to the right person. And we have an Instagram page and a Facebook forum that will be linked in the first weekly email. So if you join that, you'll get all the information and things you could be involved in. We have the Disability Committee that we'll be holding applications for. Would love you all to get involved. It's a great way to get involved in college and to be part of Disability Awareness Week, which would be a great week. And you can email me with any questions at disability@tcdsu.org. Thank you.
Yeah, so we've just got a few campaigns for the year. Most of them are just kind of related to things that affect everyone, from higher education funding to accessibility to consent, student spaces, and of course, you guys get to decide what choose to get involved with. As Neve said, sign up to be a class rep if you'd like to be. And sign up to Courtney's Disability Committee. She signed up to my Disability Committee last year, and she's now also not just only the Disability Officer, but my girlfriend. So you never know what could happen in college. And then as well, I remember sitting in those seats and seeing the Disability Officer and being like, yeah, I think I could do that. So don't doubt yourself. Go for anything that you think you would like to go for, and the SU is going to welcome you with open arms. We're more than happy to have anyone involved. Anything we can do to help you, we will. So thank you so much for listening to us, and enjoy the rest of the day and good luck with the rest of the year.